Hello and welcome back to Sports for Dummies. In today's episode, we're doing a review of round 11 in the AFL season. Johnny, let's get into it. What was your highlight for the round?
Carlton won.
Carlton won?
Carlton won
too.
Yeah, you beat Richmond. You beat Richmond. The Blues are back, baby. The Blues are back.
All right, we're going to dive straight in.
Premiership favourites. Captain's
Your
wheel.
eighth.
Captain's wheel.
All right. Jump into, you got the Doggies played the Swans. Dogs tried their best, 88 to the Swans, 102. They were just too good in the end. The likes of, Warner, best on ground with 25 disposals, 4 goals. Treloar had 30 touches. Bond had a fair few, 19 contested possessions I saw, and Hagen 3 goals. Johnny, this was a very exciting matchup from the midfield. How did you find that battle?
I felt everyone got a lot of the ball. I mean, Treloar had 30 touches. Bontempelli had 26. Warner and Goulden had 25, and I think Heaney had 23.
Yeah.
The main difference is though, Warner kicked 4.
Yeah.
And I'll go through his second half. Goulden kicks 1, was hitting targets. Heaney kicked 1 in the last. What I saw from the Dogs, the difference between the two sides is Troll gets a lot of kicks around the ground that nothing happens.
Yeah.
Bond, like you said, had 19 contested from I guess competitive standpoint, he was good, but he just didn't realise the moment. Like for a player of that ilk, like in that third quarter, Hagen had a very exciting spell in that second and third quarter. He was absolutely marking everything. It was fantastic to watch. He's one of the most exciting players when he's on. Twice in that third quarter, he was out on the lead, kick it to him because he was marking everything. Bont burned him twice and would kick to someone else. It's like you got the best player on the ground in terms of a forward.
Yeah.
Kick him the ball. And then in the last quarter, you got Bont, the captain, 30 metres out, misses. Now, let's look at what Warner did, who had 3 touches in the first quarter, gave away a 50 metres to end the second, Dogs go in front, set up the third quarter. The moment, I reckon Warner's the second best third quarter player behind Curnow. He set up the first 2 goals.
Yeah.
Kicked the last 2 of the third, and then he kicked the first of the last. He kicked 4 goals and had 4 goal assists in the second half.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Look at the difference of and we were talking about this last week.
Yeah.
Bulldogs get a lot of the ball, but the Swans players kick goals.
Well, yeah, their midfields they hit the scoreboard. Heaney, Warner, you got Goulden, you got a much better. In my opinion, obviously Bond can hit the.
He can.
He didn't, but Treloar doesn't hit it.
We got a lot of junk ball there. So 6 goals from their midfielders to 0.
It's a big difference.
The Dogs were brave, by the way. Norton goes down early. Ed Richards, who was leading all disposal getters, had 18 touches. He got concussed. Scott concussed. Dogs had a really good fight back.
Yeah.
But the Swans, their midfield's too powerful, and it really shows.
Do you reckon? We talked about the yo-yo of Western Bulldogs. Do you feel like this was a game? Do you feel like they lost anything from this? Because they were pretty competitive. They were close. Swans obviously made the trek down here, showed them who was boss. But, Bulldogs' best, you see it time to time, can match it with, the top teams. But did they lose any fans from this?
I didn't think they lost any fans. They had chances to win the game. And I think Sydney's experience was too good. Dogs copped a lot of injuries in that game. And it wasn't, I think with the Dogs, they either dominate or they get dominated. They weren't dominated, and they really brought this game to it. They got this game within a kick, and then poor 50 at the end. I don't think the Dogs lost any friends here. No, I don't.
No, that's good. Let's jump into the next game. We had, which was an absolute thriller, nail biter, Freo Dockers versus the Magpies. Freo 75 plays the Pies 75, so a draw for everyone out there. Freo, you had Clark with 30 disposals, Ranfield 3 goals, Dacos 35. Mate, he's just doing it week in.
He's the best player in the league.
Week out. And Harrison with 3 goals. Tony, who came out better from this draw? Because it was a nail biter. Like, it was an absolute freakish game. I mean, Collingwood were up almost 4 goals
So
in the last halfway through.
I think Collingwood even though Collingwood were up by 4 goals, they have so many injuries.
Yeah.
This was... Now, I'll give Fremantle points because they're a similar game when they had Sydney come over. They got smacked in the mouth.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was going there. They brought the game back. A lot of questionable umpiring decisions. Felt like for 3 quarters, the umpires were favouring Collingwood. And then in the last quarter, when it got out to 4 or 5 goals, Freo just got all of them, not giving the ball back on the full to an umpire. I've never seen that be paid in my life.
No.
For time wasting. I'll finish off with thoughts about the umpiring. I feel like this was a chance, though, with an undermanned side on the own deck Friday night for Fremantle. Really, this would keep them in the 8. Collingwood would have so many players to come back.
Yeah.
Them drawing here. Collingwood's bad performances have resulted in draws. So the games they should have probably lost, Bombers, Freo, they've got 2 points for. Everyone else is losing their games. So Collingwood they've got players to come back. I think Collingwood, they'll take it. They'll take it.
Who's the most informed team at the minute? Is it Sydney, Essendon, or it's definitely not Collingwood anymore?
I think Essendon are. I think Essendon have won their... Essendon
Because
haven't lost...
this was a big game for them, Collingwood. If they had won this, they would have gone into probably up third.
Well, Essendon haven't lost since Port. So if we're looking at just pure numbers...
Sydney haven't lost since Richmond, though.
Richmond. So I'm not sure who's on a bigger winning streak.
Yeah, I think they're about even.
It's probably about even. And I think Sydney are the clear best side. But Collingwood haven't lost in ages either. Collingwood haven't lost since round 7 either. They've had 2 draws.
That's the rough thing
That's
for
the
them.
interesting one.
But they get the extra 4 points for the 2 draws.
At least they haven't had 2 losses, which those games could possibly been. They were 5 goals up, down against the Bombers early.
Yeah.
And, they were injury-ridded,
But they were 4 goals down in this one. Up, sorry.
Yeah, I get you.
They came back. So
I get you, but I think Collingwood are going very, very nicely. They got players to come back. Remember, they were 0-3 at Sunday.
Yeah, what can you expect? 6 wins, 2 draws, 3...
I think, would you take...
What was it? 3 losses.
You'd take it. You'd take it.
Oh, as a Collingwood supporter...
You'd take it. You've had a good 2 months of footy. You haven't lost in 2 months.
You haven't lost, in 2 months of... Yeah. And you put it in that context, you're like, that's actually pretty good.
You're having a good little run because the games you have played bad in, you haven't lost.
Now, this has to be the next game.
Okay.
Has to be one of the most... I actually don't want to talk about it. It's North plays Port Adelaide.
Do we have to talk about it?
North Melbourne, 48. Port Adelaide, 107. Look, gallant effort.
They were up
at the start.
They were up by a bit. I saw it. Take a screenshot. Take a picture.
It'll last longer. Davis Uniacke, 35 disposals. Zaha, 1 goal. I've written goals. Sorry, it's just goal. Wines, 25 disposals. Marshall had 5 for the game. It's a typical North Melbourne winless in 2024. Where's their win coming from? This?
So it's a good question. I did the ladder predictor. You go through all sides, did the margin, and I found one they could potentially win. And I think it's against West Coast in Tassie. That's the only one that I've given them that they can win.
All right, has there ever been a team in history that's gone winless?
Not in the AFL era. In the VFL era, I'm not sure.
I don't care about that. Let's not care about the VFL. North have to be purely one of the worst. Like, this has to be the worst team. I think you were telling me there was a meme on Ben Mackay, who moved over to Essendon.
Oh, yes.
About that he had 8 wins in 71 games.
Yep.
And at Essendon, he's had 8 in 11.
Yeah. So he's played half a year for the Bombers and he's equalled his career wins.
Mate, that's why he's going to come up against your boy. He's going to come up against Harry, his brother.
Mate, he's just happy to be there.
He's going to be like, fuck it.
Ben Mackay is just happy to be there. They don't have to win another game for the year and he's like, it's fine.
You know what? He's never been above his brother on the ladder. This will be the first time he'll be like, hello. Sorry, that's such a... But it's true.
When they first started, though, remember, Carlton was shit too. We were winning the spoons.
Oh, he probably has then.
Like, I think he has been above him maybe at the very start of his career. Has anyone gone a whole year
Undefeated
without winning a game? VFL, AFL. I'm actually curious to know. No team has gone winless in a VFL, AFL season since Fitzroy in 1964 when they went 0-18. No team has gone winless in the 22-game season. Now, to give you context, Fitzroy do no longer exist. So the last side who ever did go winless, they merged, were taken over. So the Gold Coast Kangaroos.
Or the North Melbourne Devils.
They're not bringing it. They're not making another side.
Sorry.
They'll get rid of them.
True.
They'll get rid of them.
That's a logical decision.
Or they'll just call them the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah. Well, fuck North Melbourne. Like, what is it? Yeah.
Who gives a
North
shit?
Melbourne can't win a game. All right, we're going to jump into Carlton and the Suns. Speaking of the Suns, the Blues 102 to the Suns. 73 had Walsh, 32 disposals. Williams and Curnow 4 goals apiece. Miller over at the Suns had 21 disposals and King had 3 goals. Another Suns poor performance away. Johnny, you were going on and on saying they have one of the worst records. They haven't won this year away. What's this
Keep
little...
going. I did some digging.
What?
The last time they won away from home.
When?
Round 9 last year. And they beat West Coast, who were having that awful season.
West Coast, yeah, they were all the winless.
So this is what I'm talking about. The last 3 weeks, the last 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, Suns have been at home and were number 1 for scoring in the comp. They versus Carlton, who aren't going well. Carlton did have some players back.
Yeah.
And we bullied them. And the scoreboard flattered.
Yeah.
We absolutely owned them in the contest. It was great to see. Matty Rowell, who's probably I've never really seen him tackled to the ground. Patrick Cripps fucking put him down 4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
We got out to 50 points, let him kick a couple of drunk goals. Great to see for Carlton win, though. But this is what I'm talking about, the Suns. Everyone buys into them.
You guys should have smacked them by more. You guys were very dominant on the day.
Correct.
Your disposals, you killed them in every pretty much contest and every stat. What are the Suns going to need to do to fix that? Because that's a huge issue. Like, they can play so well up at home. They can score so fast. What is that? Do you reckon it's the temperature? Like, what is it? Like, I don't have the answers, and I don't expect you to either. But like, what are they actually going to have to do?
It's a mental thing. So Paddy Cripps had 10 clearances in the first half.
That's what's the most in one game?
I think he had 13. Let's have a look.
Because that's massive.
Most
Because
centre. Who's had the most clearances in the AFL?
guys, if you know any of these answers, chuck them in the comments.
I'm interested to see.
But I'm genuinely curious. What do the Suns need to do? Like,
Paul Salmon had 22 in a game once.
Is that the most?
In 1998. He was a ruckman too. That's crazy.
Does that count?
Why?
Like, nowadays you can grab it out of the ruck and kick it. So why wouldn't they do it more?
What are you talking about? You could do that back then too.
Yeah, no. Remember how the ruck contest, when you used to grab it and you get tackled?
Yeah, that was in 2003. That was only a rule that happened in 2003.
What about back then?
98, that wasn't a rule. You could grab it out.
You could grab it out and kick it.
Yeah, it's obvious.
So that's very impressive by Cripps, 10.5.
But to answer your question, this is a completely mental thing.
You would have thought Hardwick would have been able to shift that.
Well, he's whinging. He came out and said during the week, Melbourne clubs don't understand what it's like to travel and whatnot. And I'm not saying that he's wrong.
I can't imagine it would be easy because it's half your games.
But this is a guy who's on record saying we hate going to Etihad. 3 minutes down the road. It's like it's got no soul. This is a guy who got every home game plus away games at Richmond, because we know Richmond and Collingwood get kissed on the dick. Gets to play every game at home, who whinged about playing at Etihad. Now he has the balls to whinge. That's the mentality.
Yeah.
And he was getting sooky at the end of his career at Richmond. This team is they're false alarmers. This Gold Coast side is false alarmers.
I've never been an AFL player. I wouldn't know what it feels like to travel. It would be hard. It'd be hard mentally too.
I'm not saying it's not, but okay.
No. I'm not. I understand hard week.
Have interstate clubs won the flag before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying they can't do it.
They all relish playing at the G.
I'm not saying they can't do it.
Yeah, then don't whinge. You play in the comp.
Just shut the fuck up.
Just shut the fuck up. Anyway, we're not even asking you to win a flag. You came up against a Carlton side who've been pantsed, who fucking still don't have their first side in, and they fucking flogged you.
Do you think the AFL should move? So say, obviously, when you have the finals and whoever's higher on the ladder and whoever goes in first, they get the home game. So
Sure.
like, prime example, Brisbane. Last year, they're playing up at the Gabba. It's their fortress when in the finals. Should you get the rights to the grand final?
That is a great question.
At your home stadium.
And we will do a video at the end of the year about the equalities of the game. That the AFL has a lot. So
The ground, for one.
Well, the grounds, the draw, like the actual draw, like we play 22 games.
Who determines that? Do they just pick it out of nowhere?
They do it on how you play. Like, so even the EPL, you play each side twice.
Yeah.
And whoever wins at the end of the year wins. There's no finals. It's just whoever finishes on higher. Then they have FA Cup and different competitions and whatnot. But for a side to be able to play one team twice and another one once, it's not fair. The draft, the grounds, as you said, they're not all the same size. The grand final, perfect example. That's at the MGG for 99 years. Do we do a Super Bowl where it alternates every year?
Yeah.
Does it, or do you just give it to the home side? Or do we keep it at the MCG? It's not fair that it is just at the MCG. It's not going to change though. No. I would like to do a video on that more in depth.
Well, I think the likes that gather around.
But to say that your question was, is it fair? No, it's not fair. Absolutely, it's not fair.
When did they play the grand final through COVID? They played it up in WA, out in WA. And I thought, look, it did not work, but it
was a good grand final. It was for 3 quarters. It was an awesome granny.
So it's like
it can be done.
They're trying to gear it because they're doing gather round now.
No. The AFL has the grand final rights for 100 years. You can't stop that. It's a contract.
Another 100.
Yeah,
from now.
That's stuck. Oh, from 5 years ago they signed that. That's the grand final ain't moving.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump.
But I would like to do a video on that and the different ideas because I don't have. That's something that requires.
That's why a lot of players want to play in Vic, especially if they're from Vic too, because you're like, well, this is where you want to play. This is where you want to be based. If you're based at the G, you've got a competitive advantage, mate. Now that you think about it, Richmond and Collingwood have they're literally a stone's throw. Typical real estate agent term here.
Well, think about it. They only and it's not even that. They not only play their home game at the MCG because they're the big clubs. If they play a away game, they're playing at the MCG against the Melbourne side.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So you're playing. So this is where versing a side like Carlton, and this is where the home grounds things as well. Like Geelong's almost an interstate club.
Yeah, they are.
Because they get 8 games at home. Like Carlton, a share between MCG and Marvel.
Same with the Bombers.
But we don't train there.
No.
You don't train there.
We don't train
How's that a home ground?
There's no advantage in that.
Richmond have Parton Road. Collingwood don't train at the MCG, but they play there fucking 17 times a year. That's enough. That's enough practice.
And that's where they win the big dance.
But then, this is where the catch it goes the other way is the interstate clubs get all their home games.
Yeah.
So, they're not getting the experience at the MCG, but they have probably a better chance during the home and away season to take advantage of their home games. While Carlton and Essendon,
I think we're the most, in Victorian teams, we are the most fucked. Saints, Carlton, Essendon, and
Bulldogs
are because Marvel's our home
Yeah, I think there's a shed. I think I'd have
We
to
should-
do.
it's like
I'm
a-
not sure if it's 6-5 or what. I'm not sure what the split
But
is.
how's that?
Because
Why?
Melbourne is definitely Melbourne.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go in the history
Anyway.
of it's who you aligned with and whatnot. Where you've done a deal with Marvel, because Carlton's was Optus Oval, and Optus Oval was going to be kept.
Yeah.
But then the vice president Ian Collins shafted our current president, and because we got done for the salary cap, shafted him out. Did the deal with Etihad because he was like one of the directors there.
Oh, okay. That makes
We
sense.
get a cash injection, but then our game's moved.
Committed to Etihad or
Yeah.
Marvel now. I did not know that. Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Did anyone else know that? I'm sure they didn't. No, they do. All right. Geelong played the Giants. Now, this was an absolute cracker.
Was
And, I mean, we'll go through quickly. The Cats 74, Giants 78. Cats, you had Holmes with 32 disposals, Stengel 2 goals, Tom Green with 28, and Riccardi with 4 goals. Arguably one of the best goals I've seen in a while
Agreed.
as well. And how good, what's the name? Riccardi's goal.
oh, how good was that?
But Toby Green's goal to get them
Clutch.
back in front.
Clutch.
So what like, before we go into the question,
Sure.
Giants are almost becoming the new, like the Bulldogs. Like they lost. Because both these teams coming into this game, though, with 3 losses in a row.
Mm.
Giants were playing such good footy at the start of the year. And now it's like they went down and now they beat Geelong.
Well, after
Does
round
that mean-
7, I think Geelong was 7 and zip. Giants were 6 and 1.
So that brings me to Geelong. Do you reckon they can still make the premiership? Because I was thinking that they were, they were almost humming along after 7 rounds. I'm pretty certain I'm caught on air saying that they're going to win the premiership or something like that.
I thought that, and I was with you. An alarm, obviously, mathematically, like they're still
They're still in the hunt by a mile.
Are they in the 4?
I will tell you. Give me 1 second. They are 6th.
They're 6. I mean, so
But, like,
they're
between-
in there. They're in there.
Yeah, they're equal points just on percentage, like not 4th.
What's happening? I guess the issue with Geelong is that was been highlighted, which was already there before. Was even though their midfield's getting smashed, so 44 clearances to 37 from the Giants, 16 to 7 in centre clearances. You saw that when Carlton played them, and sides, and if you look at it, they just get smashed in the midfield. Problem what Carlton were doing was our entries were just bomb it long. So you had likes of Stewart, Conning, were just picking us apart, and they were just spreading off half back. Melbourne saw what Carlton did dominant-wise, but then took it to the next level, lolled their eyes, kicked around it. Everyone's doing this now. And they're so easy to score, and that midfield's horrible. Their ruck's shit. Stanley's no good.
No.
Conway's no good. So 51 to 32. And the Cats, I mean, inside 50s in that last quarter, 24 to 5.
Yeah. I mean, this is now this is an inconsistent problem with Geelong because that's 4 losses in a row.
Well, it's not inconsistent. It's consistent.
What's consistently
They're
either
4
good
and
or
4.
consistently shit.
They need danger back.
So, yeah, I was going to say, obviously, it's their midfield that's the big issue.
57 inside 50. This is fucked. They're getting beaten in clearances and the centre, and they were so inside 50s, 57 42. It just shows, and Carlton's guilty of this. If you can get all the ball that you want, and if you do not have good injuries, because the sides team defense is too good now. There's very genuine to get 1-on-1, and then the Suns at
Some teams
Taylor.
love it. There's some teams that actually want it to come back.
Well, Geelong did that to Carlton, but you got
love the lay
Taylor.
down footy.
You got Taylor down there. Alir, what an absolute superstar! 3 intercepts in the last quarter. The ball was just coming on, and he took 3 massive grabs, all different. So Geelong. So that tells me, even though their midfield's so poor,
They're winning it.
they're winning it. So
Is it their midfield?
can they win it then? Can they win it then? Of course. They just don't have to bomb it.
Yeah.
They just got to figure out what Melbourne did to them. Just learn to lower your eyes.
So to answer that question, is Geelong out of the premiership race? I don't think so.
Not
The
yet.
reason I say that, even if they made the 8, they're still competitive. I'm not. You don't
100%.
want to play them. They're the
100%.
most. They're the oldest team in the AFL. They've got the most history, and over the past decade, have they won the most premierships or something like that? Well, up there, I think they're equal.
Well,
Equal
in
with
the
Hawthorn?
21st century, them and Hawthorn.
Yeah, so it's like
Have won
you've
4.
got to have, and they've got the coach who's been there the whole time. So
Correct.
they've got so much experience. They've got players out. When's Danger coming back?
Couple of weeks away. Actually,
Couple of weeks.
let's
Bring
let's-
up the-
let's bring that up.
Because
AFL
that's a
injury
huge.
list.
That's a huge
The
out for
thing
them.
is, he comes back and I mean, he dominated when the last game he played was against Carlton. He fucking smacked us in that first half.
But he does all the time. Like this is the thing.
It's not. We're not worried about his form. It's okay. So
Can he stop-
Dangerfield's hammy 1 to 3 weeks. Jeremy Cameron should be back in the side.
And that, you know what? That showed, you said that he's almost like their MVP. You know how, like you said, Toby Green for the Giants?
Dangerfield.
Cameron out for Geelong is huge. Like
Yeah,
they've-
100%.
they haven't had him. When did he go off with concussion?
Well, he played on the weekend. That was an old
Oh, he
one.
did.
I
Sorry.
thought he played.
I was
So he
gonna
had
say, I'm like-
17 touches and a goal. So Danger's then 2 weeks away with that
Okay.
hammy.
So it's not too far off.
Not too bad.
Look, I thought it was interesting. I thought the Giants were up by a bit, and I was actually at I was at the footy at the time.
You were at the football.
But I mean, Geelong did well to come back and.
Well,
and did a
they
good
were
effort.
up by 3 goals. Giants got out to 4 goals. It's an ebb and flow. There's almost sides that are inconsistent round to round, but sides are now almost in. It's like Melbourne weather. They're inconsistent quarter by quarter.
Mate, it's
You can go
Makes
through
sense.
a number of sides who, Carlton, Melbourne, Geelong, GWS, like I'd like to look at how many times has a side been 3 goals up plus and lost this year.
we should look. We should look
I
into that.
really would love to
We'll
see
do that for the
stat.
for the preview. I reckon we're gonna look that up because this league is so open. Like, I mean, yeah, we'll get into the next game.
Yeah,
That
sure.
brings us to, this pisses me off. You know, it was second plays 17th on the ladder. Richmond plays Essendon. However, I'm just gonna run through it and then I'll talk on the point. Tigers 74, Dons 86. Just a shit win, but a win's a win.
Mm-hmm.
You had, and you know what? I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. Dusty Martin, 3 goals, 23 disposals. You fucked us. Like you did. That snap from 45 out on the run in the pot. I couldn't tell you how you did it. Freakish. Prestia 27 disposals. You know who was good for us in the first quarter? Came out swinging. 3 goals in the first quarter. Was pretty silent after it. Stringer. Kick 4. Ridley had 31. Great to have him back.
That's good.
Well,
That's good.
bloody done. You know what he made? And I said it to you on the day. I know Ben Mackay had a great game, but he actually, in the moments that mattered the most, when we needed marks and intercepts to be done, was Ridley, who came up with the goods, took the ball, actually disposed of it really well.
He is literally the way that he uses the ball.
Yeah.
He is literally a guy. You got him at the right time and can take a game on. That's massive for Essendon.
Yeah. Now, I'm pissed off because you've written Essendon's season starts this week. What? Explain that. Like, what?
So Essendon doing swimmingly. Second on the ladder. Clear second on the ladder. Can't fault you.
Just remember, Richmond beat number 1 on the ladder. So we're better than Sydney now.
They lost by 30 goals
If
last
you do
week.
the math though, right, hypothetically, Sydney beat Essendon, Essendon beat Richmond,
There's no
Richmond
math.
beat Sydney.
There's no math this year.
That's just saying. That's what I'm saying.
There's
It's so
no
open.
correlation.
There's no correlation.
So the reason I say, and you Essendon supporters get fucking sensitive. This isn't an insult. I'm saying your season starts now. Because 4 of your next 5 games
are winnable.
is brutal.
Winnable.
Gold Coast and Gold Coast, they haven't lost at home.
Haven't they?
I don't think they have.
Shit. It's all right.
Then you
First loss
play
on the weekend.
Carlton, who have just got a better midfield than you.
Well,
Then you have, without being, that's going to be a good game. Essendon Carlton, it's going to be a cracker. Then you have West Coast, you'll smash that. Then you have Geelong, which you haven't beaten for in fucking 6 years.
Where are we playing that?
MCG, it doesn't matter. That's where you've played them the last 3 times. They beat you every time.
Let's do some research on this one. Continue
So
this
you
one.
don't even know your own team and you're fighting me.
No. Just continue.
Oh. Okay, then you have Collingwood, who are going fantastically. Then you have Melbourne.
Yep.
So, that is...
Collingwood. Hey, hold up. Last 5 games against Geelong, we've lost them all.
I know. And they were at the MCG.
That's so confidently, just deliberately, just
Exactly.
fucking,
So 5 of your next 6 games...
We did that against the Bulldogs. We had a bad streak against
do
them.
not care about the Bulldogs.
Just saying.
5
not a
of the
mental
last...
edge.
So my point is... Not that you're a horror. I'm just saying your season starts now. This is a hard run.
I actually think I have a really good feeling about that
Who are
Geelong
you-
game.
Oh, that's the one you're not winning. That's the certain one
I
that you
have a
can't
really
win.
good feel. No, I feel like our midfield, I just think we have...
Hawkins will kick 4.
Mate. When have we had a good defender?
Josh, you do not match up against them.
When have we had a good defender?
Doesn't matter.
We have Goldie out. Goldie's going to come back in.
So?
Dersma's out.
So?
Parish is out.
Ew, you don't want him back. You haven't beaten him for fucking 4 years.
It's about time we win.
You're not beating Geelong. Okay, so my point
have
is
a good
your
feeling.
season starts now.
We had our best list.
5 out of the 6.
We lose.
No, like 5 out of 6 games are
Oh,
very
yeah.
hard. Like Gold Coast, if you say okay, so if you play Gold Coast at Etihad, 100 points, not even a side. But at home they are awesome. Then you play Carlton.
I think we're going to
4 of our last 5 against you guys. Geelong you haven't beaten for ages. Collingwood.
Wait. You're
They're
only
not
as
gonna
good as
lose.
your last game. We bet you the last time we played you.
We were 4th last.
No.
No.
Ladder position doesn't matter.
Understand the game if you don't understand why these games aren't hard.
I'm not saying they're not hard.
You do. You did.
I'm saying it's... But
Your
okay,
season-
I'm going to...
We're going to learn about Essendon in the next 6 weeks.
Game by game.
Yeah, we're going to learn about these in the last 6 weeks.
So I haven't been big. If you can go through Essendon previews,
It's the smug
reviews.
fucking face that you Essendon supporters had. Oh, we're fucking second. You just... I want you to crumble now.
Where are you sitting on the ladder, John?
It doesn't matter. We can win from here. Proven track record. Don't need to make top 4.
But you didn't win at Granny.
Doesn't matter. We made
hit
a prelim. You haven't won a final.
Fuck you. I got nothing.
When
was your last-
you
when
guys
was your
are
last
at second,
premiership?
you have beaten Richmond and West Coast from a combined total of fucking 2 goals.
Look, the thing is this.
You're the worst second place side ever. No, in all seriousness, my point
that's
is out of 5 out of 6 is going to be really hard. I'm really excited to see how you guys go. It's great to see Ben Mackay fucking killing it. Ridley coming back, I think, is another dimension to your guys' side. Merritt's like odds on to fucking win the Brownlow. Stringer, what I loved about Stringer, even though I know you gave your props to Martin. Martin kicks that awesome goal. Next play, Stringer kicks a big goal.
Oh, yeah, he took a mark out, I think it was 50 out on the absolute bend and absolutely cracked it through.
Yeah.
So, no, I do agree. I think I do give props for Dusty. We clipped him saying, Harley Reid's the new Dusty. Dusty's, gone off, yada, yada, yada. It was actually just good to see Dusty Martin turn it on. And that was their granny. That was Richmond's
Richmond
granny.
played as good as it's.
That's as good
I
as
mean,
it's gonna get.
good on Richmond.
Yeah.
They've lost by a combined total of 75 goals.
I will say this, it's going to keep Essendon hungry because if we had smacked both, we had the chance to smack North and Richmond. We did none of that.
You come out and win all those games.
Oh, then that's a yeah.
Then we
then
start.
We're in a,
so I guess
not
this
even
is-
then we start. Then we're first on the ladder.
So this is where I get. I still reckon Sydney will be undefeated in that. Probably still win all of their games. My point is, if you can get through them, say maybe like you expect maybe to lose, like so Essendon. Look, you want to watch
three or three. If we can win 3 and lose 3, it's all right. I'm actually all right.
Well, no, you want to win. I think you'd want to win 4 out of 2 because you're playing West Coast there.
Oh yeah.
If you can win, well, even if you even the ledger up. You know, it is one of those years you could beat one, but I don't know. I just think we're going to learn about Essendon a lot now.
Yeah.
Is my point.
Essendon season
Over.
You've lost it. All right. That brought us to an absolute cracking game. Hawthorn played the Lions. Johnny, well done on that one. You got that right. Hawks 100 to the Lions 75. Amon had 29 disposals. Gunston kicked 4 goals. Neil 29 disposals. Morris 2 goals. Hawthorn, once again, are very bloody good at rebuilding squads, Johnny, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they've done it before. They're doing it with a lot less talent this time. But it's funny because people are like, how could you tip Brisbane? And on paper, Brisbane are a better side.
You mean Hawthorn?
Yeah, sorry. How could you tip against Brisbane? That's what people will ask me.
Well, I was so strong on them saying they'll come out and smack them. I was wrong.
And on paper...
I didn't think this through.
And on paper, and trust me, I wrestled, there was, before the game started, it's like, do I change? Do I change? On paper, Brisbane are a better side. They move the ball better. They've just got more talent. I just thought, though, Hawthorn have beaten them the last 4 games before this, when Brisbane were a top 4 side. Brisbane are not better than they were before, and Hawthorn aren't worse than they were before. And Hawthorn against all the other, and when I say the other bad sides, you got North Melbourne, West Coast, Richmond. I don't put in that basket because they're coming the other way. That's not really fair. They're not rebuilding. They will be.
Yeah.
But I put North, West Coast, and Hawthorn. I think at the start of the year we all put them in that same thing.
Bottom, yeah.
North have no hope at the moment.
No.
West Coast, from a superstar like Harley Reid, Waterman,
they're
probably
exciting.
More exciting than Hawthorn. But what this Hawthorn side is using. And I bet you Sam Mitchell hasn't done this like Adam Uzaid is. I bet you Sam Mitchell is embracing the Hawthorn fucking past.
Dynasty.
He's embracing it. What it means to play for Hawthorn. And these guys are playing with super spirit. They almost rolled Port Adelaide.
So is that why you chose? Because I did think about it after I made the selection, and then after they won, I was like, you know what? They would have been like, shit. We won that whole game. We won that game, and then we lost with 20 seconds to go with 1 play.
I didn't pick it because of that game.
And then I felt like it was going to spark the hunger to be like, you know what, we're at home. Let's come out, play the Hawthorn way.
And that could have been the case. It's not why I picked him. It was more not just that one game. It's just more the last couple of months. Hawthorn have been up for the absolute. They've been up for the fight. And you look at their list, their spirit, like Frost is a brick wall. James Sicily was back as well. Carl Amon off that half back line is a beautiful user. Really loving Will Day's football. Newcomb, Nash. Yeah. They're all... Gunston was back to it as well, playing
4
against
goals.
his old
Chol
side.
3.
So seven between their forwards.
Yeah.
So it's... On paper, as I said, there are no weapons there that they are better than Brisbane. But I just feel Hawthorn, and this is an underrated skill.
They do have a good backline. Now that I think about it, they would have matched up pretty well against Danaher and Hipwood.
Yeah, no, so I'm not saying it's a good backline, but I'm just saying it's not an elite. If you look at it, they're not an elite side in terms of star fucking power. But they've been playing with so much heart. And Brisbane at the moment are not playing with heart.
Have nothing.
Hit with injuries, give them that. Off-field incidents that we've learned about. Their game plan shit with no Coleman. They're not great at Melbourne either.
They're horrible this year.
Yeah, so
they're absolutely horrible. I'm shocked at where Brisbane's at.
That's why I went for the Hawks. And I reckon out of the 3 clubs, those bottom ones who are rebuilding, as I said, they probably don't have the Harley Reid or the Waterman that West Coast have. But if they can add some pieces, because these guys are playing with spirit, Mate, Richmond were never the best list in the comp. Collingwood aren't the best list in the comp, but there's some fucking go about them.
There's go and there's spirit, and like you said, there's a game plan. There's team synergy.
Correct.
That's a big thing.
That's a good word.
Strong.
That's a good word. That's a good word.
Now we're going to get into the next game. We had Melbourne St Kilda, arguably. Well, I'm just going to say it's a typical boring St Kilda game. There's 100 for the Demons to 62 for the Saints. Salmon 32, Van Rooyen 3 goals, Steele had 33 disposals, and King had 3 goals.
Well done, King. He actually did all right after quarter time. That first half was so boring.
I was speaking to a St Kilda fan today, and just the hopelessness in the voice, just, it was just meh.
Well, where are they now?
Meh.
Because where are they? Because you got North West Coast and Hawthorn clearly going through transition, building for the future. St Kilda
They won
was
a
supposed
final
to be in the
last. Well, they didn't win, so they got into the finals last year.
Where do they go now?
They have no A grade talent.
They do not have an A grade. I don't call all of them, any of them. No one is an A grade footballer on that side. I won't hear of it.
What are they going to do? This mid-season draft that's coming up Wednesday, what are they going to do?
That's not going to fix anything. That's not going to fix anything. They're not fixing shit. But fix what? They don't have...
That's what I'm saying. They need a Hail. They need a Hail Mary.
They need to start again.
They need to go, like the NFL, and you have that play where it's a Hail Mary and they throw it as long as they can. That's what they need. They kick it and they run onto it.
Like a half-renovated house. It's like you may as well have just started again.
May as well knock it down.
Knock it down. Knock it down.
Knock it down. No one likes it.
And you got an old builder. Ross Loss has lost the plot. I actually quite like his press conferences, his post-game conferences.
Are they good?
It's better than the game.
That's more interesting.
Oh, how's this too? How many people did I say would make the game?
You said 35K.
It was 37,403. It's not bad. It's a pretty good fucking close to the pin.
For a graveyard shift on a Sunday in the afternoon.
It's fucking shit. Richmond, even in no form, get more people than that.
Oh, yeah, no. Richmond would have brought 50, 60 regardless.
Just because.
Just
shit. Just ugh. Melbourne and St Kilda should never play on a Sunday afternoon.
Did we learn anything about Melbourne from this?
No, they just did what they had to do. Melbourne did what they... We learned that, in a very unpredictable year, they actually won the game that they should.
Comfortably.
So we'll give them that. But didn't learn anything from a structural standpoint from them.
Yeah, it's a bit of a meh.
Oh, stupid game.
That brought us to a very electrifying Adelaide and Eagles game. The Crows got up 137 to the Eagles 38. So they absolutely smacked the wind out of the West Coast Eagles. You had Scholl with 34, Jones 3 goals, and McGovern had 29 and Williams 1 goal. Now, in light of my attitude, is the West Coast positivity gone?
Yes.
I mean, last week we were going on about how good Harley Reid is. Yep. The AFL were just amazed. They've just been smacked by 99 points.
We forget that they're fucking second or third last. They've been hyped more than any rubbish club in the history of football because of one dude. And they were horrible. That was horrible.
He's getting offers from... He'd be getting offers from big teams.
He said he was... I think a couple of weeks ago that he was homesick too.
He's come back a few times. Maybe that's why they rested him. Could you imagine?
Where would he go? I'd have him.
Bombers.
Where would he suit?
Bombers. Collingwood, to be honest.
You know the side who always end up getting good picks? Geelong.
Fuck Geelong.
They do well in trades.
But Geelong don't need a... No.
Yes, they do need a midfield. Yes, they do.
Is he from Geelong, though?
I don't think so.
Well, that's good because I'll tell you one thing. Geelong's almost like an interstate team. So if you're watching this Harley Reid, you're going to have 8 games down at Cardinia Park. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not a surfer. Fuck that shit. Probably is, but there's better surf on the peninsula. Just go and play for a Melbourne team.
He grew up in Echuca.
Perfect. So he had no water. Oh, wait, no.
What?
No, there's water up in Echuca. Shit.
What do you mean? There's water everywhere.
No, I meant like beach.
The world's like a
What do you mean?
99% water. You can find water.
Is the world...
I'm exaggerating.
The world 99. All right. That's the summary for the games. We're going to go into the AFL ladder. I'm just going to read through it very, very quickly. On top, leading by 6 points, very clearly just leading the charge. You've got the Sydney Swans. Second, you've got the Bombers. Third, with 2 points behind, you've got Port Adelaide, and they're 4 clear of fourth, Melbourne. Then you've got GWS in fifth, Geelong in sixth. Seventh, you've got Collingwood, and then eighth, you've got Carlton. In ninth, you've got Freo. 10th, the Suns. 11th, you've got the Doggies. 12th, you've got the Crows. 13th, the Lions. 14th, the Hawks. And then, St Kilda, I predicted them there. Mm-hmm. This is just getting better. It's getting funnier the more that this happens. I'm proud of myself for the bottom 4. Mm-hmm. 15th, you know what? Who cares about the next 4? They're all shit there. What are your you mentioned at the start of this podcast, Johnny, that there were some issues with the umpiring. Can we go through the games first, and that will be my final thought. Oh yeah. Go through the games. So we got. Oh, okay. Do you want me to read them out? Or do you want to?
I got this.
You got this.
We're gonna crack. I like this. This round's good because the first game of the round's awesome, and then the last game of the round is awesome. So you got Port Adelaide and Carlton, 3rd versus 8 at Amy Stadium. Rosie and Rioli got injured on the weekend, so if he's out, because he's dangerous, he's been awesome.
Willie Rioli's
no Rosie. That's going to be a fascinating game. Friday night, Collingwood and Bulldogs. I reckon that's going to be a cracker too. Depends which dogs we get, but if the dogs that played against Sydney, that's going to be a really good game. Saturday afternoon, Hawthorn and Adelaide at the MCG. That becomes a really good game.
This gets even better.
And then after that, West Coast St Kilda
over at
Subi, that actually becomes a good game.
No, that's Saints lost.
West Coast $1.70, St Kilda $2.10.
I reckon they're going to lose. I reckon Saints are going to lose.
Just keep it to yourself. And then probably the worst game of the round, Saturday night, Geelong versus Richmond at Geelong. So that's the one. On Sunday afternoon, Melbourne versus Fremantle at the Alice Springs. Okay, that changes it up a little bit. Bit warmer weather could help Fremantle a bit more. And then I'm so excited for this game because I think it's going to be a cracker. Gold Coast versus Essendon at Gold Coast. Gold Coast or at People's First Choice Stadium. No, People's First Stadium.
People's First Choice Stadium.
Are a different team against a really, as arguably the informed side of the league. That's a good round.
Bombers would just be going up to Queensland, just have a nice little trip and get some nice heat and get away from the nice cold. So it's going to be a nice win for Bombers.
That's
and then you've got the buyer teams. You've got Brisbane North, Sydney, and Greater Western Sydney. So there's 4.
This is how teams. Good Sydney are. They, even after this missing a full round, they will still be on top of the ladder.
That's what I mean. They're just that.
This is ridiculous.
Just having a chill. They're 6 points clear, so it's so much further, which is good. So you were mentioning umpiring. There was some poor umpiring decisions.
It's like this every week. I'm going to use some examples, but this is actually every week. The umpires are there to fairly adjudicate the game.
Yep.
Not influence it. And they constantly call decisions to impact a game. I don't know if they're trying to make it like the NBA now, where they're just keeping the game close. But that Sydney Bulldogs game, where the Dogs were right back into it, Sydney player marks it. This is towards the end of the game. In the motion, the Dogs player knocks it out of his hand like he was trying to spoil it. Even if he got there just a little bit late, like it's part of the contest.
Yeah.
He pays 50, just game's done. That Fremantle Collingwood game, this is like the deliberates, they just chop and change. Like this is why deliberate needs to either be last touch or just go back to nothing. Because
not on to the umpire whenever they feel like it.
There's too many, and this is where I do have some sympathy for the umpires. There's too many vague rules.
Yeah.
High tackles, did they duck or did they not? It's either high or it's not.
Yeah.
I don't care if you. How can you tell? So if he does his hip like that, but then if he doesn't like that, then it's not a high. Then the Fremantle game at the end, they're just not giving the ball back on the full. to the umpire. I've never seen that paid in my life. I didn't even know that was a fucking rule. You guys are influencing every contest of the game. We shouldn't know who you are. But they can just do exactly what they want every time, and the umpire and the AFL back them. And do you know why the AFL can make rules and changes and whatnot? Because the people keep watching the games.
Well, yeah,
Viewership doesn't go down.
Viewership's gone up.
It's like the government. How can they get away with it? Because they can do exactly what they want when they want, and everyone keeps watching.
Yeah.
The umpires, can we just watch the fucking game, please? I just want to watch a game where I don't notice if it's high, if it's on the ball, it's on the ball. If it is it don't be deliberate, last touch, or just go back to what it used to be.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Stand
Make
rule,
the rules more clear.
The stand rule.
Yeah.
A player's now baiting the guy on the mark. Goes to defend. He can't move 50.
Yeah.
Like how far? How did we physically get through 100 years of football with the players not being able to stand on the mark? How did we get through it? Fucking 6x6 rule. I think every player knows now, if they're not in position, call it. This bouncing of the thing. Oh, it's tradition. No, tradition is when the circle was small and the bounce was unpredictable. That was the whole point of a bounce. It could go anywhere. The moment you regulated that it had to go in the circle, throw it up. Because you talk about the game not wanting to be fucking time wasting. Absolute fucking disgrace.
That's the final thoughts for round 11 review in the AFL. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow in the next one for the Premiership. Stick around for that. Johnny's got some huge changes. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, and
ring the fucking bell.
see you in the next one.